So C40 Cities is a global organization, as I said. It started with 40 cities, so C40 Cities. We are now a network of more than 100 cities across the world in different regions: Latin America, Southwest Asia, Southeast Asia, Oceania, and Europe, African region. What we are doing is that it's a partnership of mayors across the world who are leading a joint action, collaborative action against the climate change, and we are supporting these mayors and the cities by developing action programs and different kind of tailor-made programs supporting them to reach their climate ambition. We do it in different ways. We have high impact actions, we have urban accelerators, we have green accelerators. We are working across sectors within the cities. And in India, we have larger cities: Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, Ahmedabad. So we have 5 cities in India. We are supporting the cities in different manners, in different programs across the world. And very recently, we started also supporting other cities which are not in the network. We are providing light support to other cities in India, which we are calling as other C40 cities. We are providing solutions to them. They give us the problems, we provide solutions, we help them. So that's how C40 cities works. I'm leading a program called as Jameel C40 Urban Planning Climate Labs. So Jameel, I hope you know, it's Community Jameel. It's a Jameel family group. We partnered with them. It's a philanthropy, and with C40 we partnered with them. What we are doing is we are creating a climate action embedded master plan. I'm basically an urban planner and an architect by background. So if I tie what Swapnil said, and if I'll also tie what Manas said in the beginning, Manas touched upon green buildings, Swapnil touched upon agriculture. How do we actually make it happen? How it becomes regulatory? So, you know, as a part of C40 cities, we have leadership standards. We ask cities to, not any city can be a part of C40 cities. We have leadership standards, we follow their progress, we have a monitoring protocol in place. So, climate action plan is where we support the cities first, where actions are identified. We create a GHG inventory of emissions, and we see which are the actions, which are the sub-actions. But when you see this as a document, it's more like not a binding, law-binding document. But how do you create a regulatory part? Like, for example, very rightly, Swapnil was mentioning that how do you incentivize? So master plan is just not a sector. Urban planning is not a sector. It's a cross-cutting enabler. It is about many sectors woven together. Because master plan delivers a development control regulation. It delivers a bylaw. So it supports development of cities in many ways. For example, how do you create shorter routes for transport? How do you curb transport emissions? How do you do building decarbonization? How do you create such kind of compact cities where maybe 15-minute cities? Or also, how do you curb, based upon case to case, of course, how do you curb the urban sprawl so that you can conserve the green areas? The carbon sequestration is what we say. Even the IPCC report says that special planning, if done properly, it can help reducing 23 to 25% of GHG emissions. So in our Jameel C40 program, we are helping 2 pilot cities. We are doing support to Amman, which is in Jordan, and second is Chennai. Chennai is doing a lot of good works. You are from Chennai. So yeah, is doing a lot of good work in the 3rd master plan which is going on. So we are supporting the city in a deep dive demonstration program. We are actually checking in each and every climate action identified in the climate action plan, creating regulations which will come as a part of the spatial part of the master plan as well as the regulatory part of the master plan. Yes, how do you involve citizens is a very important aspect of master planning. In general, when we do master plan, and I'll not detail it out, there is a process where there is a public release of master plan, people give their objection and suggestion and everything. But how do you create a climate action embedded master plan? How we prioritize walkable cities, how we prioritize green neighborhoods. To answer your question on regulations part of it, for example, green buildings. How do you ask a normal person, a developer or a citizen who has a large land to motivate him or her to create a green building? So do you incentivize it, but how do you put a regulation onto it? So in a master plan, there is a document which the government releases, the city releases, the development authority releases, which is called as Development Control and Promotion Regulation, in which it says that if you do so and so building, you will be given so and so incentive, or that is just one part of it. Then when you do a spatial master plan, you identify these are my flood prone areas, these are the areas which are very low lying areas, the problem which we are facing right now in the city. So how do you curb more encroachment? Because you will make such policy in the DCR that this is my area I have identified, there should not be any more high-rise development here, or maybe the buildings which will come here should be more which are resilient and adaptive to the floods, flash floods. So those kind of regulations come in the master plan and people have to follow it. From the point of view of government, it is more like two ways. One is the act, and which is the state act, and one is more at the city level. We are working on both the levels right now with Tamil Nadu. We're also helping them modify their climate action state, town and country planning act. So it will enable each and every city to create a climate embedded master plan. Plus we are also helping the Chennai to develop for a very large area, I mean it's like now more than 1,000 square kilometer area. And as a part of our program, we'll be developing a blueprint framework so that other cities can also follow the same. Like for example, we are not government, none of us are. Government is the one who creates policies and acts and regulations. But how do you ask a government, motivate them? You have a rationale behind it. You create a small program. Even as a part of our larger program, we'll be doing a proof of concept neighborhood, climate responsive neighborhood plan in Chennai as well as in Amman. So that will give a rationale to the city that okay, how these policies are going to support. For example, and I'll take the example of agriculture. Very rightly said, like agriculture is also a very larger area. When you see the land cover, it contributes in the GHG emissions, whereas in the city developed area, it's more like a stationary. Buildings contribute a lot to the, like in Chennai, 71% of emissions is from stationary, it's buildings and all. So if you're working in the sector and you say that, okay, we have seen this as a proven model that if you incentivize so and so, this is a policy support which can be given to the government. The government will have their own way of listening to you, adding it into the policy. So getting to that is more like how do you engage with the city and develop that. And yeah, it's something which comes from the government. So you have to make a rationale behind it, I think.